Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Res the Dead, and today we're going to be talking about one of our favorite girls, and that is Gwen. So, lately I've been doing some research on Gwen. I've been watching some streamers, looking at what other top players are doing on different servers and such, just to kind of see what's going on, kind of having some issues on my own, and having some more problematic matchups pop up lately. But that's okay. I think Gwen is in a great spot. Definitely more middle of the pack, but in the right situation, she is very, very strong, and that's great. I don't really have any complaints. Either way, I'm good. So the thing is, as I'm using this website, which is one of my favorite websites to use at the moment, is onetricks.gg, and you can see what a lot of high elo players are doing across the world, not just in your own server. As we know, I play on NA, and this is just going to give you your runes and stuff like that, and what people are doing. If we scroll down, we can see the recent games that people are doing, and we see one of my favorite Gwen streamers right here, Artha, and you can see he's on a tier. And what jumps off to me instantly is his build, and I think a lot of Gwen players build this way as well. It's not the standard way, which is, I guess, Riftmaker Gnasher's Tooth, but I do really enjoy this build as well. And we can see he's kind of on a tear. As well as Artha, I also really like another streamer, I believe his EU as well. He does stream in Spanish, but I really enjoy watching his content, and he is a Gwen mid player. Now, for me on my own, I see a lot of people in the Gwen Reddit specifically talking about builds and this and what's good and what's not. A lot of people just straight up poop on people with varying ideas and say that it's terrible, without even really thinking. Looking at this list and just on my own, there's a lot of different ways you could build Gwen, play Gwen, and just utilize what she could do. And I could definitely illustrate that just by looking at the ladder and looking at how different people are playing her. I think it's pretty standard that a lot of people like Gnasher's Tooth and that type of build, or somewhere in the build, but there's also people who don't. And I do feel it's kind of wrong for people to just, regardless of whatever elo you in, just to kind of shit on people for wanting to itemize, or just telling them that they're wrong, you shouldn't try other things. There's not one clear cut best build. I think there's a lot of issues with anything you go. I'm always talking about how League is dynamic and game specific, and you need to do different things. Now, over here we have Trans. This is the account of the gentleman I was talking about, EU player. He's already challenger, and he plays only Gwen mid. You can see he plays her most of the time, pretty decent win rate. And this is what I'm saying, this guy went on to Gwen's Reddit and posted his build, and honestly a lot of people seemed, in my opinion, to give him some issues, or they were really weary to jump on it. I personally think this is pretty good. I really like this when I play Gwen mid specifically. I think it really helps her out with what she needs to be done, when she's playing that lane. Now, this has changed recently, but pretty much most of the year he's been running First Strike, the old First Strike and the new one. So that's kind of what he was doing. I think recently he switched to Conk, but I think also he probably switched to that because he's in Chow now, and he is, just dealing with different players. But if you were to look, it doesn't take much. You could just look into his Reddit and you talk about him going like full assassin, First Strike, getting his money and all that stuff. Now, other streamers, and this isn't to name drop anyone in a malicious way, but like Artha, when I asked him about this build one time in the stream, he thought it wasn't very good. So I mean, that's cool, it's nothing. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Also, he plays top lane, so I don't think this is the best build for top lane. So there's that. But I also see a lot of people with like lower elo really coming at him. Be free to check that out on yourself, or just asking a lot of questions, and you could see that they just kind of like don't get it, and they just like big you know, question mark type of thing. But if this works to challenger, this build is good. This is good. This guy is playing against elite players. This is good, you know, and this is a non-rift maker build. So we also have other people here too that are going to be running other things. Now mostly you're going to see here is saying conk, but if you click on it, you're going to see some different things. Now if we go to like art right here, he has very different stuff too. Now I watch a lot of his streams. He's one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Gwen streamer specifically, and you know, he's really good. So he's able to just run right into Rabadons because he farms well, he snowballs very well, and he's gonna have that gold, right? But if someone's playing in like silver, bronze, gold, it might be a little harder for you to get this second item, but definitely the snowball potential is crazy. Now speaking with him, you know, just in his chat or by hearing him talk about it in his own words, he doesn't really like Riftmaker, and for me, for the most part, it's not the same as old Riftmaker, and it takes a long time to pretty much stack it. By the time you stack it, the fight's already over, you know. He's running this into tanks, you know. He runs a Riftmaker game here too, but I mean, I think that's a good game to run it. So yeah, doing very well, man. He's doing very well. Now another thing I want to talk about is just runes. So for me, conk is definitely the, you know, the best for, I don't know what to do, you know, it's pretty much whatever, I'm not sure what to go. It's generally good in almost every situation. You could go conk, but definitely fleet is something a lot of people are running. I think it's not the biggest deal for someone to say, hey, if you don't feel comfy with conk in a specific matchup, or it's ranged or something like that, you're going to get abused, definitely run fleet. A lot of other players are running it, you know. So we got somebody like this guy right here, HGL Naru. This guy is Grandmaster. So anything that these players are doing on this list, master and above, it's gonna work in your silver, your gold, your platinum, you know, blah blah blah. It's gonna work in those games. So I just feel like it's kind of crazy that people are like giving people shit for builds that are working. This guy doesn't even run flash, you know. You could run whatever you want, whatever sums. I see people here running TP flash, ghost and flash, flash TP, you know, no movement spells, all movement spells, whatever you want. Now, something that I have been thinking of for a while now, because Gwen into some of these matchups are so terrible, right? So terrible that I'm like, damn, I need something even more potent and keeping me alive. Because let's say you're going into something like a Trinimir or something like that. It is an abusive matchup. I honestly think it's really bad, but it's not the worst of like all time, you know, like you can make it work. Now this guy here, Aniki of the Wind, I guess I'm saying that right. I hope I'm saying that right. Now, this guy runs Grasp a lot of his games, and this is something that I had thought about a while ago, and I didn't post about it in the Reddit because I saw people legit get railed, hard flamed. But you know, the thing is, who's flaming you? We don't know the elo of these people. You know, a lot of this time people are just spewing information they heard from somebody else. But I think it's pretty good into some of these matchups. And it's the same thing here. Like, you know, this is a Trin game. This is a Fiora game. He's going kind of conk now too. But I've been watching this guy's account for a while now. I think he was doing a lot better before. But this guy, straight grasp. And he's doing good. I really like it into the Riven matchup as well. But look at this. These are against master tier players. A Masters Gragas. That lane sucks. Riven, that lane sucks. He also went exhaust as well, and he's having success. You know, he's not playing bad. These are whatever. So if he's doing this in his elo, imagine if he's playing in platinum or diamond, right? It'll work. This is this matchup you could win with whatever. It's Zion. This matchup is super easy. Probably would just go conk, but I mean, this is what he's running, you know. And I think it's pretty good, especially like into like Trin, into Jace, into he's a Jace game, into Riven. I think it's something that people should experiment with, and I do on my own. Because running the same rune all the time is, I don't think, is the best, you know, especially where there's other things you could be doing. Now, there's a few other people that have been in Reddit asking for different builds. Like, hey, I don't really like Nashers. I think that's great. If you don't like Nashers, you don't like Nashers. What position are you playing? Are you jungle? Are you mid? Are you top? You know, are you a split pusher? Do you like split pushing? Are you playing Gwen to be a split pusher? You know, I think if you're gonna play her as a split pusher, you're definitely gonna need, you know, some attack speed. But if you're playing her to like scale and then team fight, or you just want to kind of beat up on some tanks and that's the matchup, you know, look at this same guy, definitely going for a more tankier build, which makes sense because he does run grasp, and you're gonna get that free AP from all the HP you're gonna get. So it's kind of nice. And this is just a guy, he's master. Let's go to another guy that he is, we click right here, we go to win rate, right? These are the highest win rate people that this website can see. Okay, so I found the guy after some time. I don't know what I was doing, it was right in my face the whole time. So this is another guy, and he is going crazy. He has, I think, the second highest LP out of all the Gwen players. um and this is the main build that I see him running. I was checking last night and I was thinking of making this video, and I was like, what is that? This guy's kind of playing just without Nashers. I haven't watched him play because I'm not sure how I could even do that, but this guy is just cooking. Some of these matchups are really terrible too, and he's just going, look, first of all, he goes flash TP, which is pretty cool because I think most Gwens take Ghost, but I think it's up to you. Some players never took Ghost, you know, even when it was really strong. This was kind of their thing, opens up for some different combos. But yeah, this is what he likes. This is what he enjoys, and he goes this pretty much every game. And look, he's massive win streak in GM, right? Nice little win streak, and the guy's kind of cooking, bro. The guy's definitely cooking. You know, look at these, look at these games, and this is without Nashers, so it's able to be done. You know, I think a lot of people are asking for permission on what to do and how to play the champion instead of finding out what works best for them. Gwen is extremely, extremely diverse, you know. She is a split pusher, she's a mage, you know, you could play with your auto attacks as the main focus, your Q is the main focus, you could play off your R being the main focus with like Souls build. Um, you know, and even myself, sometimes I find myself being caught up in, is this actually good, da da da, but we really got to think for ourselves, you know. And I love websites like this that can really help you, I guess, solidify these things, because we're all thinking people, and I think you really got to stick to that too. You know, these guys have the top two guys, completely different play styles, completely different build. Look at the play rate, 90%, 80%, a lot of games, similar win rate to Grandmaster GM, EU West, Korea, top lane, mid lane. This guy's going like pretty much full assassin. Recently switched up to Conk, but he was playing first strike. You know, this guy's playing like a tankier, no Nasher's Tooth. You know, we also have a bunch of junglers in here too that are playing different as well. But yeah, I definitely wanted to talk about that because there's other things we could be doing here too, you know. Like I said, these are pretty good. I don't think PTA really has a place, you know. I think it's whatever, but I think first strike is still pretty good, you know, depending on matchup. Grasp, if you're getting shited on, bro, it's really good. The fleet is really nice as well, if you need more of movement speed and healing. But if someone's gonna kind of jump on you and you only have enough time to like auto, then Q and E away or something like that, this is great too. And I don't think just because you have grasp you have to go tanky either. You know, I've been just using it as a way to kind of get me into the mid game, get me into the late game. You know, it's really just to survive, because you got to think Gwen is going to become Gwen anyway, as long as you don't do anything stupid and you die 20 times. You know, I think Gwen is one of the best champions, bro. You had a bad game, you're 0-3, you're 0-4. All right, farm it up, come back, make a play. You have AoE damage, You know what I mean? Lots of AP, you have attack speed, lots of things you could do. Lots of things you could do, you know? And like this build is great too, you know, lots of damage. But if, let's say, you're not the best mechanical player, this might be hard for you to execute. This might be hard for you to execute. You know, there's nothing wrong with the majority of these other players running this setup, Riftmaker into Nashers. I think it has its place. I think it kind of feels weird if you think about it, but it's still pretty good. Most people are running it, you know. These other players, that's what they go, Riftmaker, Nashers, and they're doing great too. You know, I think you just really got to think about it. And that kind of, I think, where the struggle comes from. I don't think necessarily Gwen is the hardest champion, but you have to think when you play her too, you know. It's nice that she has like a pretty simple, you could go this every game and be fine, you could go this rune every game and be fine, but to really like take it to the next step, there's little nuances you could do, little things you have to do, and that's where I think the skill in the champion comes from, which is nice. So I definitely wanted to share that. Definitely want to share this website, and I hope this kind of tells people like, hey, stop going on Reddit and asking all these people for their opinions and then not doing these things that you're like theorizing, because it's good. These players are all GM master, you know. The highest ranked guy right now is this guy, and he's playing her in a way no one else is. So clearly there's something there, you know. So definitely give her a thought. I think she's great right now. She kind of like wavers back and forth too, but these things are pretty good, you know. Some of the match was hard, but Trin's getting a nerf. I personally haven't been seeing too much Kale. I think Kale's kind of annoying. But there's a lot of good things for us too. These tanks are in the top lane, in the mid lane, in the jungle, and we beat them up. I hope everyone keeps on getting LP. Hope everyone's doing great, and I hope just thinking about this type of stuff really helps you guys out, you know. Like, look at these matchups, you know. If you run Conk into Kale, you might have a hard time. Maybe this is a fleet game, you know. I think Riven, personally, I run Grasp into her. If I want to run Conqueror because I feel like I need to 1v9 the game, then, you know, maybe I'll still run Conk, but I'll go Exhaust, you know. I think if you run, you know, maybe like Conk into Pantheon, you might struggle, especially if you're like a lower elo player, you know. He jumps on you, he does his stuff, you might only have a chance to just get a little grass proc and leave, you know. Maybe you're like, hey, look, I'm gonna die, but at least I'll get some HP, I'll stack it later on, I could play a little bit better, maybe get some resistances, and maybe build a defensive item or not. But if you're building a defensive item, you know that you lower your carry potential. But the thing is, you don't always have to be the carry. If your bot lane's winning, sometimes just surviving is enough. If you have a bunch of damage on your team comp, because that's what people love, maybe you can afford a defensive item or something, you know. So don't listen to people that are like, oh, you gotta build full damage all the time, every time. You know, maybe you're not good enough to operate that yet, but you'll get there too. So think about some of these stuff. I think Fleet into Gnar isn't bad either, but of course Conk is good too, you know, stuff like that. But it's going to be your preference. I really recommend people like taking these type of things. If you're playing a champion, maybe writing it down in a journal or writing it down on a notepad and saying, hey, look, into this matchup XYZ, I ran this and got shitted on. I couldn't even touch the wave. What could I do? You know, anytime I see a trend and I'm playing Gwen and I still want to play Gwen and I don't want to play another champion, I'm smashing down Grasp. I don't care. You know, I win with it. So when people say it's bad, it just makes me scratch my head. So definitely do your diligence, do your research, and I hope this finds you well. Definitely check out some of these other streamers too. There's some cool ways to find some streamers here too. This is the Soul guy, Soul 1. I really like his, but if you don't speak Spanish, you know, I just kind of like watch it for the gameplay and try to like see what's going on. Artha is great too. I watch his stuff a lot. And I'll kind of just like bounce around, you know, maybe just because I never really watch the streams live too often. I watch it after the fact. That way I could zoom through the games and kind of see what matchups I want to see, how they played, and this, and take it for my own thing. Last before I leave, this person Nay here too is GM. I was watching their account for last few weeks or whatever. You know, I just come on, see what other people are doing. This person was exclusively running Rod of Ages. Now I personally just I wouldn't do it. I don't really like it, but this person was doing pretty good on it, you know. So do your stuff, man. Whatever works best for you works best for you. So yeah, good luck with your games. Have a great day. Gwen players unite. We got this. Have a good one. Peace.